Wonderland.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Aaron Hilliard from Mushroom Wonderland, here with my trusty trail dog Gunner, and I'm reporting from the forest of Western Washington. There's a conifer forest, and it's right here in January 2023. And I tell you what, I've been walking for like 25 minutes, and we've ran across maybe a small handful of little brown mushrooms, one like old dried out Dyer's polypore from last year, but it is like the worst mushroom time. So if you're alone, you know, if you feel like you're alone, you're not alone. Mushrooms should still be growing a lot more than this. We just got hit with a 1-2 punch of a lousy fall because we had this super long summer that everybody was happy about except for us foragers. Didn't even start raining until, you know, late October. And then we got hit with like a 1-2 punch of winter weather before Christmas. So the mushrooms that had just got started growing, you know, a lot of the mycelium was just put to bed by the snow. We had like a week and a half where there was a couple snow events here in lowland Puget Sound area, and a hard freeze and frozen rain and all this craziness. So any mushrooms that were waking up, you know, we had a small fruiting of chanterelles and stuff like that, but right now it's just super sparse. There's a few little gallerina, little moss bells that I'm finding out here, a few little undescribed Nolenia, little pink gills that are delicate little brown mushrooms growing out here on the trail side. This particular trail would normally be, you know, just all kinds of like, especially winter chanterelles. I was expecting to maybe see that. Craterellus tubiformis, not out here right now. So I don't know, man. It's just one of those years. I'm getting jealous of seeing other people around the country and all the mushrooms they're finding. Oh, right after I get done saying that, I look down here on the ground. Look what we got growing right down here. Oh, it's so slimy. It's like an old, nasty, slimy chanterelle. But one thing crazy about chanterelles, even when they're this old and just, it's all boogery and just nasty, but there are no bugs in it. Bugs just don't like chanterelles, so I don't know what that is, but you know, even a super old chanterelle like this, still intact. You could cut that open and there's not going to be wormholes. So if you're finding what you think are chanterelles, but you're not sure, and there's a lot of worms and bugs in them, they're not chanterelles, just saying. So we're going to keep hiking, looking for mushrooms in this bleak landscape. Check that out. Here's some beautiful red-belted conchs growing on this down western hemlock. So look at it, it's red. It's got a belt on the outer edge. That's why they call it the red-belted conch, Fomitopsis mountsiae. And this log is pretty well taken over with them. I can look way down there, see some young fruiting bodies growing down there off of the log. Very pretty specimens. So Gunner agrees. Look at right here off this branch. So brown rot decayer eating the inside of this log. And you know, probably the most common mushroom you'll ever find in the forest of the PNW. They grow all over stumps and logs, and sometimes the morphology is really kind of stunning, like this one. Beautiful. So I'm going to take some pictures of that for my photo collection for sure. Beautiful example of Fomitopsis mountsiae, formerly known as Fomitopsis panicola. Not a lot to see out here, but sometimes, you know, one of the most plain, boring, common mushrooms can show up and be very beautiful. So you got to learn to appreciate all the fungus, you know. If you want to have fun in mycology, you got to appreciate all the fungus. So right now, there are some of the most beautiful Fomitopsis I've ever seen growing out here. I mean, we've seen several of them that are just beautiful. Red-belted conchs. So there might not be a lot of mushrooms, but you got to give some love to the ones that are out here and are doing it. Look at these, are young and they're really really beautiful. They'll often get guttation, so like little water droplets hanging off the bottom of them. Sometimes when the sun hits them, you know, they just look very magical, but it's just kind of water. This one's kind of got it, and it's hard to tell if it's being excreted from the mushroom or if these are just rain droplets, but probably a little bit of both. But beautiful little guttation, and the colors on them are just super vibrant right now. So yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly, you know, you gotta gotta have love for the mushrooms that are making it happen out here. And so, despite the lousy weather for most, the Mount CA, the Panicola, they're loving it right now. Also, a pretty bright one that you'll see out here in the woods. Oh, there's quite a bit going on this log right here. Looks like some trichaptum. This is an evergreen log, so these look like turkey tails, but this is trichaptum. One way you can tell is that it's on evergreen. Another way you can tell is it gets a lot of algae growth and they turn green like that. But we look down here and here's a Dacromyces chrysospermus, so little orange jelly fungus that grows on the conifers here. Real boogery, and yeah, it's edible. I've picked it before and smelled it and tasted it, and it was just like trick cereal to me. So it can be kind of confusing because this one, it appears to be kind of growing with all this trichaptum, and on a hardwood, a similar kind of little shell fungus like this will be growing on hardwoods, and it's known as sterium, and so tremula grows with the sterium, and the Dacromyces growing here on hardwood with this other one. And check this out. Ooh, oh, narnar, that's cool. And that's some other type of a jelly fungus. This one's dark. Cool. So again, with the saprobes, loving the dead wood here. And we got some beautiful Fomitopsis growing up here on this tree. So we stumbled into a veritable mushroom wonderland. Oh, look down here. So we've got, oh yeah, we got a hardwood growing here with a bunch of mushrooms growing off of it. These are the Skytonotus longing keys. Really common right now. There's a bunch flushing right down here. Pretty sure that's what we got going on here. These ones are really dark, so I'm not sure about those. Some kind of an oysterling. So I'm going to work on these next, take some photos, and do an iNaturalist observation and collect some of these so I can get a positive ID, but one of the oysterlings. This is how you get to learning. You know, you find a mushroom you don't recognize, and then you're gonna, you know, study it. We're gonna get some cool photos and collect some of these to take home. Probably get on the microscope, ask some other mycologists, might post it to a couple of you know, Facebook pages, and see exactly, you know, what these are. Pretty uncommon. Cool. What do you smell, bud? Truffles or something? That'd be cool. Because they got to be growing underground, because they sure as hell are not growing above ground, because we ain't seeing them. What we got? Nope. It won't be long before the little lichen agarics start coming out on the base of trees like this, where this cool lichen is. These little tiny fruiting bodies, the Lichenamphalia, they start growing pretty much like winter into early spring. So I haven't seen those yet either. It's just not a lot of the usual suspects that I would expect to be out here, like the Craterellus, those winter chanterelles, man. Some of my favorites. I have found so many out here in the past. I mean, like 5-gallon bucket loads. And you don't even have to move, like in a 20-foot circle. They're just coming out of everything. But right now, you know, now we got these little guys. See these really striate little mushrooms? LBMs, come on, focus. There you go. This is one of the forest-loving Galerina vitiformis. You can tell that black stipe, real striate cap there. Rusty colored gills and spores on this mushroom, but they're surviving out here just fine. They're liking the cold, damp weather. So don't get these confused for Peliculosa. Psilocybe peliculosa can also be growing out here, but Those Galerina aren't dangerous like the Marginata. But don't be fooled. Anyways, I'm just rambling. Look at, they're pretty common. They're popping out everywhere. They've got tough little stems, so you could pick them. Little black stipe, and it's pretty bendable and pinchable, and it doesn't break real easy. That's what I call him. Say he's got Doritos on, and his ears are like that. Looks like two big black Dorito chips. I'm gonna just film while I'm walking through this beautiful forest, because there's a few fans out there that just can't make it out into the woods. Maybe they've got a little bit too old. Maybe their legs aren't working as they used to. So I get a lot of people saying they just love the look of the forest. So I'm gonna try to shut up and just show you some of these trails. It's really beautiful out here. So some little mycena growing off of the stump. Pretty cool. Red-headed woodpecker. Check out this downed log. Some cool morphology going on here. So these red-belted conchs were, growing the other way because the tree was standing up, and when it crashed down, now new fruiting bodies grew pointed towards the ground off of the old fruiting bodies. Mushrooms do some cool stuff sometimes. How about that? A lot of red-belted conch. Check out this downed log. Some cool morphology going on here. So these red-belted conchs were, growing the other way because the tree was standing up, and when it crashed down, now new fruiting bodies grew pointed towards the ground off of the old fruiting bodies. Mushrooms do some cool stuff sometimes. How about that? A lot of red-belted conch. But I will not stop looking, and we're going to keep making mushroom content. Just came on really quick. I want to give a shout out to this company out of Tacoma, and I'm not sponsored by them. They haven't, there's no deal in place or anything like that. But Ted from ExPed, the president of ExPed, is a fan of the channel. He sent me a couple of these packs. And I'll tell you what, it's just like a huge dry pack. just a dry bag that is super comfortable on your back. And it's one big storage compartment. This is the ExPed Typhoon 25. Anyways, he sent me 2 of these and some little butt pads to sit on when you're tired of walking in the forest. And I use a lot of outdoor gear and stuff. And he was like, you don't even need to put it in a episode or anything. And but I have to, because this thing is super comfortable, and it's all I was looking for. My other pack had like a spot for like ballpoint pens and all these bells and whistles. I needed just a big compartment, and then there's a small compartment where like my keys and wallet and stuff can go. But I got to give a big shout out. There is no way the stuff in here gets wet, and it's super comfortable. It's a $100 pack at REI. So anyways, big shout out to ExPed for hooking me up, and I hope you guys look into that, because it's an outdoor gear company that I'm gonna get into. So anyways, I'm gonna keep looking for mushrooms. Just wanted to say what's up, and you know, keep foraging. Show me, you know, talk to me on Instagram and on TikTok about what you're finding out in the woods, and I'll keep sharing my finds with you guys. And in the meanwhile, I'm gonna keep putting out mushroom videos, maybe some about cultivation and just other various topics. So stay tuned, and much love to you all. Peace out.